Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I missed you all yesterday and Monday. I was at home with my little one. He had a little cold, so per our self-care and wellness regimen, when he gets a cold, we stay home because of the possibility of an asthma episode, but he did not have one. Prayers up that he doesn't get one because he still has a little cough. But he is back to school today, which means I am riding home and I can do Instagram Live. So I really wasn't in the condition to do Instagram Live the past couple of days anyway, because Mercury retrograde has been kicking my butt, tossing me around, tickling my armpits, just messing with me since it entered its shadow 2 weeks ago. I can't even tell you all of the stuff that happened. And it's so wild, the timing, right? Because Mercury entered its retrograde shadow February 18th, 19th. And it was a full moon in Leo. So you had that full moon retrograde shadow energy all at once. And then now this week, there's actually a triple whammy. So Tuesday, we had Mercury stationary retrograde at 5 Pisces. Today, we have a new moon at 21 degrees Aquarius, which is where Mercury will station direct on March 28th. And then tomorrow, the moon enters Pisces and then triggers that whole Mercury retrograde station again. So I have tweeted and shared here that this is likely one of the most eventful and messy retrogrades. And I've been trying to think about astrologically, why that is. And, definitely possibly having to do with the new moon, full moon thing going on. I looked back to see if there were any eclipses at 21 Leo or Aquarius, and no, there was not. I think the closest one was at 14 or 15. 14. There was an eclipse at 14 Aquarius, I believe, on February 25th, 26th, 2017. So that was 2 years ago. So it's not triggering any eclipse stuff by degree, though it's very clear to me in some ways that the fixed signs, with the Saturn, and I talked about this in a video. a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to revisit the Jupiter in Leo transit and the Leo and Aquarius eclipses. So I might have to go back and watch that video. I'll post the link on Twitter, but I might have to go back and watch my own video to see what I was talking about, because it might explain the connection a little better than I'm able to pull together at this moment while I'm talking to y'all. So yesterday was a bonkers. I put out a little thing on Twitter, how y'all holding up? And the consensus was remarkable. Everyone just was what is going on? And so many people, myself included, were able to see connections back to the dates that I mentioned in the video I did last week when I did the March 2019 forecast. So December 10th, Mars crossed 21 Aquarius. So that's a date of note. And then December 31st, Mars crossed 5 Pisces, which is where Mercury stationed retrograde yesterday. But then we had the February 18th and 19th when Mercury crossed 21 Aquarius, which is the beginning of the retrograde shadow. So we had a pre-shadow, the actual shadow, and now that we're here, we're all what is going on? So many people responded to my kind of how y'all holding up, what's going on, to this whole Like, for them, they felt the Mercury retrograde thing like start the day Mercury crossed the shadow. Like, it was very palpable. And that has been, I think, kind of the consensus. Like, this particular Mercury retrograde is a whole lot. Now, the other possible explanation, which I think is valid alongside any other ones I might come up with, is that Mercury does not like to be in Pisces. Oh my gosh, like Mercury, and it's not that it's bad or it's wrong or whatever it may be. It's just like Mercury doesn't have the tools that it needs to do its job in Pisces. Like, Mercury needs words. Mercury needs numbers. It needs a pen and a pencil, a piece of paper, a sharpener, some office supplies, a scale, calculator. Mercury needs like notebooks and stationery. Mercury needs Mercury needs all of these things to function. Like, it just needs some symbols, like some letters, some stamps, paper, something, right? So that it could like articulate, translate, interpret, like put it down on paper, put it in writing, like say it with words. And Mercury in Pisces is like, no, I'm actually not going to talk to you in words. I'm just gonna like keep sending you the same like symbols and images and over again. Like, I'm just gonna keep talking to you in code. That's what Mercury in Pisces does. So you want something to be communicated and articulated like intelligibly, with clarity, like saying the words that you mean. And Mercury in Pisces is like, no, sorry, I can't. Like, I need for you to use tarot cards. I need for you to use astrology, and good luck trying to figure out what all of that means, right? Like, so I know for me personally, like, it has been non-stop. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. So 2 weeks ago, I bought a rose candle, right? Just because I was just like, this smells good. I never saw this one before. I'm gonna buy it. Got the rose candle. So yesterday, I go to the mall and I go to Lush because we took a mental health day. Besides, my son still had a cough. Like, we took a mental health day. So I'm like, we went to the mall. We gonna get some lemonade and French fries, and we hanging out at the Lego store. But we went to Lush first. Smelled everything in the store, and I really didn't know what I was gonna get, but I ended up smelling this rose jam fragrance. And like, I was like, where is everything in the store that smells like this, right? So she gives me a sample of the rose jam body conditioner. Then she gives me, then I buy the rose jam body wash and the rose jam lotion bar. I get in the car and I'm driving down like LaGrange Road or something like that. And it's a little truck in front of me that says Rose something, like some random business that was named Rose something. It was not a business related to flowers. So Rose something, right? The truck is in front of me. I get home and like, I'm on Twitter and some follower I've never seen before, their name is Celery Rose. And I'm just like, what's up with all the rose, man? Like, right? Then I have this fragrance oil I bought that's rose. The rose is a major note in it. Never wore it before. And I was like, I'm gonna put this on. I'm like sniffing my wrist or whatever. So I'm like, what's up with all the rose? But this is Mercury in Pisces. Like, Mercury in Pisces is like the synchronicity of symbols. Something being communicated to you indirectly. Like, somebody or something is not said with like clear words. Like, I'm using words to talk to you now. Mercury in Pisces, like, yeah, check all of these symbols and synchronicity. Now, I have Pisces moon. I live in this world. It's a part of my job. I interpret dreams. I am the dreamer. I have been dreaming since I was like 5. I remember dreams from my childhood. So the language of symbols and synchronicity and all of that stuff, like, I live there. But there comes a point in life where you don't care what it all means. Just say it. Just say it. So that's kind of how we're feeling with this Mercury stationary retrograde. Now, today, which actually, like, right now, I want to say, It's moments like these where I pull up my trusty sidereal moon transits calendar on my phone, because I can tell you exactly what time the new moon is today. And it is at 10:03 a.m. Central Time. So the new moon at 21 degrees Aquarius. So I have like refined my whole, I don't know what the word is, around how I want to talk about astrology, or how I have been talking about astrology, but I'm like making sense of it in a new way, this idea of story. And so I really want you guys to sit and think about, what was December 10th? What was happening that day? Maybe it was December 9th, like at night or something. But what were the conversations that you had? What were the experiences that you had in that moment? Okay? December 10th, 2018. And then I want you to fast forward to February 18th and 19th of 2019, this year, right? Can you connect things that were said, thought, felt, experienced on those dates? Can you connect those things? And then today, yesterday, today, right? Be thinking about how this present moment of this week connects back to then. And then we're going to circle back around for like a third time, fourth time. Well, the third time is going to be when Mercury actually stations direct at 21 degrees Aquarius, where the new moon is today, and that is on March 28th. But the fourth time and final time that little degree will be triggered will be by Venus, and I can give you a date on that. Venus will trigger 21 degrees Aquarius. Hold tight, my friends. I'm looking at my ephemeris, which is in a PDF file on my phone. So that has to be sometime in April. So that looks like the second Monday in April, which is April 8th. So April 8th, Venus will transit 21 degrees Aquarius, and that will be the last planet to cross over that degree. But right now, the moon and sun are meeting up at 21 degrees Aquarius. I said this before, but it always bears reiterating, because it's very hard to deprogram our minds from how Aquarius has been reinforced for us. So Aquarius has been reinforced for us as this like eccentric, detached, aloof, quirky, humanitarian. Like, how can you be aloof and humanitarian at the same time? Like, that don't make sense. Like, how can you be detached and disinterested and misanthropic and humanitarian at the same time? I don't know. In sidereal, though, if you are Aquarius, you are more than likely Capricorn. So I'm not really talking about your sun sign. And that's one thing that you should know about me at this point. When I talk about a sign, I'm not talking about sun signs. Like, I've established repeatedly that the sun is not you. Like, unless you're Leo rising, right? And even then, right, I've seen people with Leo rising and 5 planets in Leo, and guess what? The sun still isn't them. It's still their father and brother and husband, right? Because those are the influential, powerful people in their life who have shaped their sense of self and their ability to function in the world. Like that's how it is for some people. So anyways, Aquarius is not quirky, right? It's not eccentric and rebellious. Aries is quirky, eccentric, and rebellious, because when we're talking about Aries, we're talking about the Venus-Mars polarity of adapting, conforming, needing others to like you, getting others to like you, and Mars, which is autonomy and rebellion and freedom and acting in one's own best interest, or one's own interest in one's own volition. So Aquarius then is the sign of self-determination and personal sovereignty. This is the understanding that we have all been endowed with inalienable rights by our Creator, and that when I subject myself to the sovereignty and authority of someone else, it is not my body or my person that becomes the dominion of that authority. It is not my body or my person. It is my own sovereignty and my own dominion over myself that I am subjecting to someone else's authority or sovereignty. So, for example, the whole idea of America claiming self-sovereignty from England and sparking off the Revolutionary War is the recognition that there is no inherent authority over other people, and that authority is always sovereignty over self given over to someone else. So you're gonna have to do Cocteau twin. You need to do some Googles. That's like such a huge topic, and I can't really answer that here. But so when we're having this Aquarius everything, this moment in general, this retrograde, this moment in general is very, 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 very important to the next year of politics and cultural progress and everything happening in America over the next year, because Aquarius is rising in the Aries ingress chart, and I'm going to be publishing those predictions like I've been doing since 2017, I guess. I'm going to publish those predictions very soon. I'm working on them, and I'm just typing them up at this point because I've done my research for the most part. But this it's like the sun is coming from there. But this concept of sovereignty, of a country having sovereignty, of a person having sovereignty over themselves, and you know, understanding. I mean, and this is why, like, kids who have Aquarius moon in their birth chart, like kids who have Aquarius rising, or who have Saturn in the ascendant, or Saturn conjunct, like, yeah, the ascendant, these folks know from birth that their sovereignty is someone who, their sovereignty is something that they're aware of from day one, and that it's their choice whether they will submit or not. And this doesn't always look like rebellion. This often looks like, I am not my role that I play in this family. So I might be youngest, or I might be oldest, or I might be middle, or I might be daughter, or I might be son, but that doesn't shape how I see myself and how I frame my own sense of self. And that's a struggle in families, because like birth order and hierarchy is inherent to how families function, like whether or not people want to accept that, right? That's just the way that it is. So at this moment where we're having a collective Aquarius experience, we are collectively dealing with our own designations and what does it mean to play a role in society, in our families, in our work, in our relationships, and how does playing that role help us to become aware of like who we really are and who we really aren't. Meaning that you could be someone's daughter, but that's not who you are, right? And what are the ways in which being this person's or that person's daughter has shaped your own sense of self, and how can you reclaim the sense of self that has been overshadowed by the designations and roles that you've played. That's Aquarius. Self-determination means that I am more than my biology. I am more than my class. I am more than my race. I am more than my gender. And in addition to being more than those designations, I also get to define those designations. That if I decide to claim Blackness as my identity, my ethnicity, my race, then I get to say what Black is. You don't get to tell me what Black is. If I say I am woman, you don't get to tell me what a woman is, right? So this is really Aquarius. Aquarius is self-determination, right? And it's very important to think of that within the context of being the sign opposite from Leo. That's your Mercury retrograde story there, Jess Darstar. But it's important to think about this in terms of Aquarius being the sign opposition to Leo, because Leo is the sign of because I said so. So we often associate the sun and Leo with kings or authority figures, and it is because of someone sitting in the seat of authority that they have the authority and power to designate something, right? So right now the queen can say, oh, you are the Duke of such and such, you are the Knight of such and such, you are the Earl of such and such, right? The authority makes the designations, and we say, ah, yes, I am the Earl of such and such. Yes, I am the, right? You are a citizen, you are not a citizen. Ah, yes, I'm a citizen, right? And all of those things and what that means. But this moment that we are in right now, collectively and personally, is saying that, okay, I may have played this role, and I can kind of bring together this question about relationships. I may be your wife, but I get to determine what being a wife means. I may be your partner or your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or one of many, but I get to determine what that means. And that's kind of difficult for relationships because we aren't always clearly articulating our expectations of other people, and we aren't always clearly defining the role that we play. And this is just a social thing, right? Socially, we have a consensus around what different roles and dynamics look. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to turn off the Wi-Fi because it wasn't going to let me download the video if I didn't. So you can think of this whole new moon and Mercury retrograde, and Mercury's going to go back into Aquarius next week. So, but you can think of this whole new moon and retrograde as reclaiming or claiming, because maybe you never had it, you never were really aware of it, claiming my dominion over myself, being self-determining, me getting to decide what it means for me to play a particular role. If you were to erase the expectations around being someone's daughter or spouse or partner, or even your cultural designation, right? What is your culture and your religion say about who you are as a woman or single or married? What are the expectations of you? And Aquarius is always our opportunity to detach. So this is the aloofness and detachment of Aquarius. It's not disinterest and apathy. It is separating the idea of who I am from the designations that have been given to me. So if Blackness, for example, is over here and Dana is over here, I get to say what that is if I decide to wear it and take it on. So that's my question for you. What are the designations that you are questioning? What are the roles in your family and personal relationships, your cultural designations, the religious designations around your gender and sexuality? Yeah. How are you reclaiming sovereignty and dominion? And how are you beginning to see and name yourself separate from that? Some people might not like it. Some people might not like you saying, you know what? Yes, I'm your child, or I am Black, or I am trans. But you don't get to tell me what that designation is and how to define myself using it. So I get to say what being your daughter means. If you are trans, you get to say what being trans means. You get to make that designation. Now, of course, there's the consensus to deal with. That people already have a certain connotation around certain concepts and identities. But that doesn't strip you of your sovereignty to claim it. We've seen this happen with like the words bitch and slut and nigga, right? Because nigger was a slur used to debase and demean black people. But self-determination means that, you know what, like, I can strip the power from a word like bitch or slut or nigga or whatever it may be. I can strip the power of someone else by claiming it for myself. So I'd be like, what up, bitch? Right? Because now there is no power there, right? Mercury in Aquarius truly teaches about the power dynamics of language, right? That if I say bitch and you say bitch, the bitch you saying is not the same bitch I'm saying, right? The bitch you saying we might have to fight. But the bitch I'm saying, right? Because I get to claim that word and say what it is, because it strips another person of the power to determine who and what I am. So those are extreme examples, but we also use that for the roles that we play that I've listed before. So that's that new moon today, and thinking about, again, December 10th, that's a very important day. And thinking about February 18th, right? Think about those interactions. If Mercury will be my friend, I know today is Mercury's day. We see that in the French, mercredi, Mercury's day. So hopefully Mercury will be nice to me and let me save this video and upload it to YouTube. But thanks for tuning in. You guys can find me on Twitter. And last night I pulled a few tarot cards as like guidance for kind of dealing with this energy, and I shared it on Twitter, but I think I'll post it on Instagram today. So if you follow me on Twitter, you could go read it, and once I get settled at some point, I'm going to share that reading here on Instagram on my profile, and hopefully this video will be up on YouTube if Instagram and Mercury will be my friend today. You guys have a great Wednesday. The moon is going to enter Pisces tomorrow, and I would like for that to be a moment of relief, except for the first thing it's going to do is conjoin Mercury retrograde. So yeah, good luck. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.